First thing to say, I am being eaten alive by biting flies out here. And it's an unusually hot day for Scotland. I think it's about 28 degrees Celsius, which in Scotland may as well be another planet. And it took me about an hour to hike out here. Next thing to say, I'm in no way sponsored by OneTigris. They have no idea who I am, and I bought this with my own money. This is, in my opinion, at the moment, the best camp cot that you can buy right now. First thing to be said, very small profile. You can see how long it is, so wide it is. It doesn't instantly feel super lightweight. I wouldn't go hiking with this. Probably one of the smallest packages I've seen for a camp cot. Inside, get 3 legs folded like this, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of these extendable legs. The cot itself, poles, some instructions. You can see laid out a hanging pocket on one side with 2 compartments. Underneath you have this storage net, and there's a pull tab on each end, at one end with an opening, which is where I'll slide the poles. There's an opening at one end, pole, just gets fed through the sleeve. For some reason the camera didn't record this part of the review, so I'm back out a couple of days later. It's now colder, cloudier and windier, but here we go. You get 3 of these legs. They just go together like this. One end has a rigid hook. The other end has a hook on this locking mechanism. And so when you're fitting the leg, you put the rigid hook on first. You position this one in place, and then you push it and lock it closed. To release it, you pull on this red tab and it releases. .67 centimetres, or around 27.5 inch. 190 centimetres, or 75 inch. A little over 6 foot. Let's get back to the summertime, which in Scotland this year was a Wednesday. If you want it low to the ground, that's it now set up. If you want it higher to the ground, and what makes this bed particularly special in my opinion for the price point are the extension legs. Let's put them on now. Very simple mechanism. It's just one of those push button type things. All you're doing, putting it in, well, pressing the button, and then giving it a twist until it finds the hole. So warm today. You can see with these legs, it takes you quite far up off the ground. It's an excellent seat now. Putting that away just the same, but obviously in reverse. Camp cots were always one of those things that I didn't ever bother with. I shied away from them for quite a long time. And the main reason being that they were just so large and heavy and usually difficult to put the legs in. I didn't ever bother with them. I see no need for them whatsoever. Experience I had with camp cots were the old army style ones with the hard canvas type material and those horrible springy steel legs that you would have to just about break your fingers trying to get it into the tiny little holes in the legs. So they serve the purpose. They do offer the benefit of being up off the ground, and they are a little bit more comfortable than simply just putting an air mattress down on the ground. The other type of camp cots I've had some experience with are the large folding deck chair type styles that are favoured by fishermen and things like that. Now, these kind of cots are perfectly fine, but they're always for car camping or being close to a vehicle or something that you can take heavy things, heavy bulky items in with you. You would never go hiking with a camp cot. And because most of the camping I do is wild camping or hammock camping, I haven't ever hiked in anywhere with a camp cot. In fact, this is the furthest I've ever hiked with a camp cot to do this review, which is about 2 miles away from my car. So why did I buy this camp cot and why am I talking about this camp cot? Well, recently I started realising that technology for camp cots has caught up a little bit. They're much lighter, they're easier to put up, and they're far more packable than they've ever been. Now there's two scenarios where I can see a camp cot being useful to me. One is motorcycle camping, and two are the family camping trips where I use my car and use a large tent, and I've got kids and stuff with me, and it's just a nice thing to have to make the camp a more comfortable and enjoyable experience, especially if you're with people who don't normally go camping. So roughing it to them is sleeping on a camp cot. Sleeping in a hammock or down on the ground can be very uncomfortable for some people. So I had a little bit of a criteria in mind when I was researching for camp cots. First of all, for the motorcycle camping, it had to be able to fit inside the pannier of a motorcycle. That was key, and that was hard to find. I could only find a couple of camp cots that fitted the dimensions that I would be able to easily fit them in the pannier of a motorcycle. One of those camp cots was horrendously expensive and didn't have these extendable legs, and the other one was this one, which is fantastic. I've got the standard panniers for a Royal Enfield, which are very slim, so they're quite slimline. I can still get that camp bed inside the pannier if I take it out of the bag and then carefully place everything. And with a little bit of clever packing, there's enough room in there for some other stuff as well. So it's not taking up the entire pannier, but you do have to be a little bit careful about how you pack it. But that's one of the only cots I've ever seen that I can fit inside that pannier. In a top box or a larger pannier, not a problem at all. You'd be able to drop the whole thing right in. The other criteria I had was I wanted it to have these extendable legs because it affords you the comfort of being able to use it like a bench. So you can set this up inside a tunnel tent quite easily, which is what I plan to do with motorcycle camping, or you can have a couple of these, which is what I intend to have in a larger family style base camp type camp. And it had to be affordable. I wasn't going to go paying crazy money for a camp cot just for something that I use very occasionally, especially if I was going to buy more than one of these. This one, incredibly affordable. But also, what I was pleasantly surprised by This camp cot is quite wide and it's incredibly stable. Everybody that's ever slept in a camp cot will know that feeling of going too close to the edge in the night and the whole thing tipping over. This does not do that. It's plenty wide enough, it's plenty long enough, and I've had quite a bit of experience with this now because I've recently been staying over at a relative's house and I've been using this in the spare room because there's no other bed there. So for the past 3 weeks nearly, I've been using this as my bed, just with a duvet folded over and a pillow, and it's incredibly comfortable. It's quite stiff but fairly springy. It shows no sign of wear and tear for the 3 weeks that I've been using it, 3 weeks straight. I haven't had the chance yet to use it out in the field, but you know, as long as you find level ground, you obviously wouldn't pitch it where I'm doing this review. This is just for review purposes, but if you find fairly level ground, you won't have any problems with this, and as long as you don't use it like a trampoline, it should hold up. It has got a couple of areas where I think there could be some wear and tear. If you look closely to here, you can see just where one of the hooks sort of like goes in. These corner points may over time develop holes. See, that just took me a couple of minutes to put that away. Not a problem at all. The bag is plenty big enough to easily put everything in. Nothing's getting forced in there. There's still actually a little bit of room. And it's actually quite a nice little carry bag too.